Yo, hip hop heist, man. What up? We back at it with another reaction, man. Camron and Jim Jones diss each other after losing Dipset versus LOX Verzuz. Shout out Chick Smooth with the article, man. This Hip Hop Heist TV. Go hit that like and subscribe. We about to react, man. That's what we do. That's why we here. So let's get to it, man.
It's been 5 years. At some point, you guys gotta let this go. 5 years later, you guys, Jim Jones and Camron are still being petty with each other over their 2020 performance at Verzuz. It's damn near 2026, and these guys are still throwing shade, still being petty towards each other. Cam has told us so many times that he did not want to do the Verzuz. Jim Jones was the one that convinced him to do it. And Cam, being a team player, said, you know what? If we're all getting the bag, sure, I'm in.
Jim is like, yo, let's do the Verzuz, let's do the Verzuz. And I'm like, nah, Jim, we got money on the line. How much they talking about? And it really wasn't a money play at first. It wasn't even about no fucking money. I ignored the whole shit. I ignored it for a while. I'm like, I'm not even paying that shit no mind. We got a tour coming up. If they want to do the Verzuz after the tour, we'll do the Verzuz after the tour. Cabo come to me again. He said, Flea, what's up with the Verzuz? I said, Capo, we could do it after we do the tour. Swiss, what are we doing here? Yo, that's all we got. I said, I ain't doing it, bro. I can't do it. Well, what you want? Not that? I want way more than that. So I got the number up to like 500,000, something like that. Just for everybody still.
Right.
I'm like, nah, bro, this ain't even 100,000 for everybody. So Kiss hit me. He like, Killer, I knew you get that number up. I knew you get that number up.
Jim went on to accuse Camron of trying to backdoor the team. According to Jim Jones, Cam was trying to get way more money and way more incentives than everybody else.
Y'all don't talk about the backdooring that's going on for the Verzuz. Everybody keep keying, but I wanted the bag.
But everybody gotta get at least 6 digits. That's our artist, minimum.
We got the bag, but boy still went backdoor. Like, yo, for me to do the Verzuz, you gotta give me part of this business. That had nothing to do with us.
Got everybody their money. I started piling my own shit. Like, I want the door money. I want stocks and Triller. I want beats from Timberland and Swiss for free. I want percentage of the views that's gonna go on, and I got all that shit too.
But he say that's me being a businessman, not as you being a sucker doing backdoor shit. Right?
Well, fast forward to yesterday, you guys. Jim Jones reposted a clip from the 2020 Verzuz, Dipset versus the LOX. Jim goes on to say, yo, me and Joel Santana should have did the Verzuz by ourselves. And I ain't picked a list. So I'm going to assume that he's trying to allude that Cam was the reason why they lost. Somebody please get in the comments and let Jim Jones know. Jay-Z could have been standing next to you guys and you guys still would have lost that day. And I love Dipset, but it just wasn't a good matchup for you guys. And if we're being completely honest about that 2020 Verzuz performance, Camron was really the only Dipset member that was actually on point. So if Jim Jones and Jewels would have did the Verzuz by themselves, we would have seen a generational L like no other. Now, of course, in petty retaliation, last night on this show, It Is What It Is, Cam went on to say that doing Verzuz in 2020 versus the LOX was actually one of his worst decisions. Here's what he said.
I can't think of nothing off the top of my head, but absolutely, 100%. You know, you've been doing this 30 years, so you have to make decisions that's best for yourself. But I can name a lot of decisions that wasn't good because I was trying to be a team player. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told...
That's it. Yeah, that's a good. Go ahead.
Like, yo, I should have never did the Verzuz. I told don't do the Verzuz. So, I don't want to do the Verzuz, but I'm a team player, and it was the wrong decision that I made. No more of that. No more of that. No more of that. So
Yo, Killer. When I was watching the Verzuz, the only thing I kept thinking, I was like, yo, if you would have done the takeover after Kiss did Who Shot You, it would have been a different day, Killer.
Sam, I had a whole freestyle ready and all that, but nigga, listen, man, it's crazy, man. But yeah, I try to be team players a lot of times. And that's the first thing that came to my brain when you said wrong decisions.
Now, as funny as this is, watching these guys be petty towards each other, you gotta imagine that this is only going to have grave repercussions for everybody. Now that people know that you guys absolutely hate performing with each other, nobody's going to want to book Dipset for anything. And while you guys might be cool with it,
Yeah, that's true. Feel like they're just causing more commotion. But their brands are their brands, so people, I don't know if exactly they're going to not want to book these guys, but maybe all together, that's possible. But I mean, they get their bread outside of, you know, they still get their bread. My bad. They still get their own brand money, right? They got podcasts now. I think Joel's is the only one that's not really on a podcast. But yeah, fellas, I don't know. Maybe it's for clicks, right? Maybe they really pissed at each other. I don't know. This was 6 years ago though. The verse is way over. As far as getting the 100K and then Cam going behind and trying to get more, you know, he did get what he wanted. Free beats, free stocks, more money. To me, man, I don't know. I think maybe he could have brought it to the forefront, maybe to everybody. But at the end of the day, man, you got to get yours too, man. It's only one piece of pie. So you got to get your piece of that pie too. Really don't have an issue with that. I guess if I was Jim in that moment, I would want to be told too, like, hey, man, you know, or I brought this to you, so break me off half or some shit. But we know Cam is really about his paper, really about his business. So with that being said, man, yeah, we're going to let this one ride. This Hip Hop Heist TV, man. Like and subscribe. Appreciate y'all watching out there. Go get that sticker, man. $5.55 in the channel store tab. It really helps out so we can bring you this content, man. But yeah, with that being said, man, we about to get out of here. Be happy, be healthy, do what you got to do to survive, like Pac said, but also be of service, man. Help somebody out today. That shit goes a long way. And you just never know whose day you're making brighter when you give a helping hand. So yeah, man, we out. That's all we got for today.